Hello, and welcome back to the To You Mystery Tour. I'm Alex.
I'm Niku.
And what are we learning about? Well, what are you telling me about today?
What are we discussing today?
Yes.
We're discussing quite an infamous case, actually. It's the Chicago Tylenol Murders.
Ooh.
Have you ever heard of this before?
Nope. I know what Tylenol is.
What's Tylenol?
I don't know what Tylenol is. Is Tylenol washing powder? No.
No.
Okay.
But, I mean, we can have a little hint for the audience. We have some pills
so
on
it's
the
drugs.
table. Yes, it's medicine, actually. But I'll explain exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, this is a series of deaths that occurred in the Chicago area
Okay.
in 1980s, and they are unsolved to this day. So let's see what your theories are after I tell you this story.
Yeah.
So we're going to be in September. On September, we're going to be in 1980s, specifically 1982, September 29th, and there's a 27-year-old man called Adam Janus, and he is not feeling so well. Actually, I think you pronounce his name Janus.
How do you spell it?
Janus.
Okay.
Janus.
I got it right.
So he's not feeling too well, and he stayed home from work because he's just feeling like he's getting a cold. And so he went to the shop and he picked up some Tylenol. And we actually don't have Tylenol in the UK, but it's basically the same thing as paracetamol.
Okay.
So I don't know. We don't have any brand names here.
I was about to ask that.
Yeah.
So in the UK, you call paracetamol and ibuprofen,
Yeah.
whereas in America, it's the same way that like a Hoover is called, like everyone calls it Hoover, or
Yeah.
a Dyson now probably, but
Yeah.
it's not actually, that's a brand. It's not actually the thing, the asset,
drug.
whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay,
I think America calls ibuprofen Advil.
Advil, yeah.
And then,
Okay.
so I suppose their paracetamol is like Tylenol. So that's what he goes to get, basically. He picked up some Tylenol and he got home and he took 2 extra shanks Tylenol capsules. And I suppose it's important to say that Tylenol is not a hard pill. It comes in a capsule form.
Okay.
Again, in the
Powder.
it's powder in a capsule. Again, in the UK, we can't get powdered capsules just from the pharmacy, and in America you can.
Can we know?
No, we have to have that prescribed. You can only get hard tablets from from over the counter.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you need to get it prescribed,
Really?
or you need to get it from behind the pharmacist's
Like you have to
desk.
you have to speak to someone. You can't just pick up in like Tesco.
Yeah, like
Okay.
do you know behind the pharmacist's desk?
Yes.
There's like
the stronger stuff.
that's the stuff that you could get. You'd have to get them to approve it. You can't just pick it up.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but in America you can just get that at this time anyway. So he takes the 2 Tylenol capsules, and shortly after, like within a minute, he collapses and starts convulsing. And his family call an ambulance, and Adam's taken away to Northwest Community Hospital. Now, I'm saying the name of this hospital because it's going to be relevant to this case.
Okay.
But he's taken to Northwest Community Hospital, and the doctors weren't able to resuscitate him, and he unfortunately passes away. And the doctors had no idea what his death was about. His death was ruled as a cardiac arrest, but he was only 27. So, and he was fit and healthy. It just didn't really make sense. And it was all very confusing. A doctor was not sure what happened there. But his whole family, goes to the hospital, and they go back to Adam's house to kind of mourn. And, from all the crying and the shock, some of the family members, they're just not feeling so good. And Adam's brother, Stanley, who was 25, and his wife, Teresa, who was 19, had a headache from, crying.
Sorry, Stanley was the brother and Teresa was?
His wife, the brother's wife.
Okay.
And they're also quite young as well, fit and healthy, 25 and 19. They've got a headache, and they decide to take some Tylenol. And it was the same Tylenol that was out already on the counter that Adam had just taken. They see it and they're like, okay, I need to take some painkiller. So within a minute of both of them taking it, both of them pass out as well. And the family, are like, what the heck is going on? They're just back from Adam passing away. And then they've got 2 other family members passing out as well. So they have to call 911. And the paramedics are trying to resuscitate them. And meanwhile, the A&E doctor that just treated Adam, he's just started kind of gathering himself and trying to understand what's happened to Adam. When he gets paged, this is the days where pagers were a thing.
I think they still exist.
Do they?
To an extent, yeah.
Okay. So he gets paged that the Janice family are in the ambulance again, coming back. And unfortunately, both Teresa and Stanley pass away within hours of Adam at the same hospital. And, they had the exact same symptoms as Adam. So the doctors, because it was the same hospital and it was the same doctor treating them, all 3 of them, started suspecting that they'd all consumed something similar. And the idea of poisoning started to get thrown around. So poison control was brought in, and there was blood samples for each individual that was sent off to their lab. Meanwhile, on the same day, another person in another area of Chicago, Mary Kellerman, is also sent to hospital with the same symptoms as the Janice family. And she also mysteriously passes away, but this is in a different hospital.
What was her name, sorry?
Mary Kellerman.
Okay. I recognise Kellerman. That's been in a TV show before. For sure. Sorry, I'm derailing you.
So she goes to a different hospital because she's from a different part of Chicago. So doctors don't make the connection between Mary and the Janice family. But interestingly, there's a firefighter who's called Philip Capitelli. And he heard all of these calls from the Janice family and Mary come into his police scanner. And he actually made the connection because he's just sitting there and he's like, oh.
This is mad. Like, because can you not buy police scanners in America? Have I made that up? I think you can buy police scanners and just tune in and just listen.
Is that right?
Well, if you I'm talking about comic book films here, but like Kick-Ass, I swear he just listens to police scanner, and in The Incredibles.
Can you? But you have to tune in really specifically, don't you, to get there?
But it's a police scan, it's built for the police frequency. I might have made that up.
No, I actually think you are right. I have seen it in movies before as well. But I don't know if you can anymore. I wonder if it's some sort of illegal thing to get now. But
let us know in the comments.
Yeah, let us know.
If you're American, can you buy a police scanner?
I feel like you can. You're right, or you used to be able to anyway. But this guy who's just not even involved, he's a firefighter, and he hears these calls that are very similar, people passing out randomly, and he makes the connection. And there's the same pattern in all these 911 calls. Tylenol's mentioned every time. Oh yeah, what did they eat? Oh, just like this and this, and then they took some Tylenol. He hears this, and he's like, there's a common denominator here. So the Tylenol that, obviously, as I said before, it came in a bottle. And another thing I actually wanted to say about the UK pills, we usually, I don't know, I'm going to show you guys, we usually get our pills in this kind of format. So
let me film it close up. We need to move it away from the notes in case anyone tries to get some spoilers,
So in the UK, we have most of our pills come in this kind of, what do you even call this? It's a plastic.
It's plastic with foil on the top of it.
Yeah, and so you know that it's sealed because if it was unsealed, it would, you could tell.
Yes.
And it's always a hard pill. You can't really mess about with this. It's hard. Whereas in the US, a lot of their pills come in bottles. So that's almost, you don't know exactly if it's been unsealed or not. because you can just open it. You know what I mean? At this time, it was just a cap and a bottle.
Really?
Yeah, it was just capped.
Mad.
In the 1980s, that's how it was.
Okay.
So they go to the two households, Mary's household and the Janice household, and they compare the two Tylenol bottles, and they look normal. So they were told to smell the bottles, and the first examiner couldn't smell anything. But a second examiner was also sent in to also confirm this, but he could smell a strong almond scent. What do you think?
Arsenic.
Close.
Oh.
What else?
Something... We discussed this... There was some... Hang on. Because there's... Wait, what's the thing that was given to the person on the bench in Salisbury?
And it's not like a nerve agent.
Oh, right, okay. I don't know.
So, cyanide.
That's... I was definitely going to say that.
Well, like, the next thing after arsenic as a poison, I feel like, is cyanide. And cyanide has a strong almond smell, but it's only detected by 50% of the population.
Oh, is it? It's like that noise. You know that noise?
Yeah, like the high frequency
pitched noise that half people can't, like, sometimes,
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm derailing you again.
Well, no, but it's true. Like, that's why the first examiner couldn't smell it, but the second one could.
Mad.
So, and then obviously the test results that hospital sent in actually came back, and there you go. There was cyanide present in the blood of all three people in Janice's family.
Can you imagine, like, if something smelled of almond to me, I would probably try and eat it.
Well, I feel like that's how it lures you in.
Almond. Like Battenberg and stuff like that. Oh, love it.
What's Battenberg?
Marzipan. You know that cake that's like squares, like white and pink squares opposite each other?
No. Oh, yes.
And it's wrapped in marzipan.
You like that?
My favourite. I used to make chessboards out of it. I would cut it into slices and like turn it into a chessboard.
You're so cool.
Yeah, I'm a loser. Right, carry on, sorry.
So, moving on. So, there was actually in the blood of the tested family contained 1,000 times the lethal limit of cyanide. And they took 2 tablets each.
Yeah, well, how much cyanide can kill you?
1,000 times
Probably,
that.
Like the tiniest bit. So
1,000.
It'll be...
The tiniest bit, yeah.
So those 2 capsules will have been full of just filled with cyanide.
Yeah, just full of cyanide. So the bottles were sent to a chief examiner, and it took a while to get to him. But by the time they got to him, the cyanide had actually started to eat away at the capsules. So the capsules didn't look normal anymore. Some of the capsules also had lumpy powder in them instead of like smooth powder. Because when the examiners first looked at them, they looked normal. But by the time they got to the chief examiner, they started eating away.
Yeah.
And so some of them were like pouring out of the capsules. So it became very obvious by the time that he inspected them. And these are not the only victims that day. There's also Mary Lynn Rayner, who passed away after being released from the hospital. She had like surgery. There was also Mary Maryland, who passed away too. She took it at the mall that she worked at, and she kind of passed out right at work.
Are all of these people in Chicago?
They're all in different areas.
But they're all in Chicago?
Some of them are outside Chicago as well. They're all in the same state.
Okay.
As well, but Chicago in and around, Illinois. But, oh dear. But is it Illinois? Yes. Or is it Michigan?
Chicago, Illinois. Chicago, Michigan.
No, it's Illinois.
Illinois sounds right.
Yeah. So, it's just like in and around Chicago. And because I know like Maryland is outside. So, but
that's where the cookies come from.
Cookies come from Maryland. You're totally...
It was a joke. It's one of the Maryland cookies.
No.
Oh. Ignore me.
Okay. So anyway.
The listeners get it.
No, they don't.
They might do. Right, okay, sorry.
And then there was also Paula Prince, who was a flight attendant who also passed away after she took Tylenol from a flight. So there's a total of 7 people who pass away. And these victims are all in different areas and different hospitals. So the connection isn't made straight away.
God.
So it was actually because of that, the Janice family members, because they all went to the same hospital, that Northwest Community Hospital caught on, and they started contacting other hospitals in the area, asking if they had unexplained deaths, and that's how the link was made. So it was actually really, I don't want to say lucky, because this whole thing is awful, but it was lucky that it, so many people were treated at the same hospital. Otherwise, this could have gone on for longer than it did, and would have had more victims than 7 people.
I'm trying to think because I know from certain, I don't know if it's far back enough, but they could be, it's like communication between different places was very scarce.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
like I know in police stations, especially out of different states, I know it was all within the states, so it's probably a lot easier, but there's a lot less communication around, like between different, well, the one that I'm talking about is different police stations, but
no, like when there's like a serial killer that's going across country,
state lines,
state, and then they don't connect. This was like in a same state, so it kind of ended up they also had a hospital that was really suspicious, having 3 people. So let's talk about the response. So warnings were issued to the Chicago area that Tylenol bottles throughout the city were laced with cyanide, and they were saying to not take any Tylenol, and it was on the local news. There was press conferences held, and by the next morning, almost all stores had removed Tylenol from their shelves. And people were scared. They were in other states too. They were getting rid of their Tylenol in like other states, and it wasn't just and it was like it was like kind of, when you get told that you might have symptoms of something, so then you have them. So this was the same with like everybody in Chicago. They, they might have taken painkiller, but they were convinced that they were poisoned.
Your brain does that all,
Yeah, like there would be people who took Tylenol 2 days ago, and they would go to the hospital and be like, I took Tylenol 2 days ago, I think I'm dying.
Sorry, yes, you were saying.
Like when I got the COVID vaccine, they told me I might get chest pain. And I swear I had chest pain the second he said, you might get chest pain. I felt my chest pain come on.
Mine was also, I have to bleep the word that you said. The thing that's been spreading about, it's fine.
Oh,
just beep it. But because it can get, I don't know.
Okay.
YouTube doesn't like it. But that thing that disease that's going about, is it a disease?
It's a virus, yeah.
That virus that's been going about. I got
the C word.
Yeah, I got pinged for it. Remember on the app?
Yeah.
And then my brain just convinced itself that I had it. I was like, my taste is going funny. And then I was like, I feel like I've got a bit of a headache. Turns out the person that I got notified that had it was actually the flat below me.
Yeah.
That I had never seen. So it's just because it's in Bluetooth range of the phones.
Yeah.
So
they're near you, but
never seen them. They're through a full like concrete floor. My brain was like, no, you've got it.
You're like, I can't taste anything.
That was ridiculous.
But this is basically what happened to the population. They were calling the poison control, and there was a whole line dedicated to people to call for Tylenol poisonings. But they literally said, if you are able to pick up the phone and call us, you're not poisoned. Yeah. So, like, everybody who was calling was not. Yeah, they were fine. So, anyway, so there was also police in the street with, those, like, bullhorns at the top. It is very old school. At the top of police cars that can say, like, pull over.
Oh,
or like they were going around streets, going through their bullhorn saying, throw out your Tylenol.
Really?
Don't take Tylenol like at all the neighborhoods. Just because I feel like, back then, not everybody, you don't have like Twitter or like Instagram and message. We don't have mobile phones.
There's no way to communicate information quickly.
Yeah, so that's what people were doing in the streets. And so Johnson & Johnson owned Tylenol at the time.
Okay.
And the way they dealt with this situation was done very well, actually.
Oh, good.
For it's a one-time thing. I feel like it's not very common
pharmaceuticals
for a massive company like that to deal actually quite well. But they thought, how do we save lives rather than how do we save ourselves? And they stopped all shipment, stopped the distribution chain straight away. They recalled 31 million Tylenol products, and their market share dropped. It dropped to 7%. Because they did that.
Dropped by 7%?
No, they dropped to 7%.
7% of what?
They dropped from 31 to 7%. I don't know.
They dropped from 31%. They dropped to 77% of what their original share price was?
Yeah.
Okay. So if it was $100 a share, it's now 7?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. It was like really low. And they lost $100 million in the process, but they did it because they wanted to make sure that it didn't expand after 7 people.
Yeah.
And it was actually discovered that all the families took Tylenol from bottles from different lot numbers. So it wasn't like...
That's even worse.
Yeah. Like it wasn't like, oh, it's just one lot number, so you can just recall...
all of that lot. Yeah. You know which bottles are which, but that means you don't know... Like, it could be any of them. As
cases were discovered, it was like found that one family had a different lot number, another one had a different lot number. And so they had to keep recalling more and more until the very end, they just had to recall everything.
Would they not? Because is the manufacturer based in Chicago? It's mad that it's the deliveries to Chicago are the only, or is this now like nationwide?
No, this is just Chicago.
That's weird. So it must be certain lots that are going to Chicago, unless they're producing it in Chicago.
Well, let's find out.
Oh, sorry.
It's not produced in Chicago, I don't think, but it's all different lot numbers for like different times of production, basically. And bear in mind that, it took a few days for the cyanide to start eating away at the capsule. Time-wise, it's a bit weird, isn't it? So...
What do you mean?
Well, it doesn't take very long for that cyanide to start eating away.
Does it not?
Well, no, because it got to chief examiner within a few days or something. So it's only like... I'll carry on. Okay. So basically, they had to recall everything as they found out that they were from different lot numbers. And Johnson & Johnson actually put out paid advertising on TV against themselves.
Good.
Which is something I've never heard of a company doing. It's I'm just quite impressed with the way they went about it. They were like, don't use our products.
Good for them.
Don't buy it. And they also put out a $100,000 reward for any information about the situation. And 10 million bottles were tested out of the ones recalled, and 50 pills were discovered to be laced. So it was like...
In random bottles?
In random bottles. And 50... there was 10 million tested, 50 out of 10 million were laced. And the 50 pills that were laced were distributed among 8 bottles.
Oh, okay.
Out of 10 million, there was 8 bottles that had 50 pills distributed randomly among them. So imagine how unlucky...
Yeah, I know. God.
That you get a cyanide pill when there's 8 out of 10 million. And... there was like one that went to... So there was 7 people that passed away. Yeah. One was... there was 3 people in one family who used the same bottle.
So they managed to hit a bottle which had...
Yeah.
So not all the pills in that bottle had cyanide in them?
No, not all.
Oh my goodness.
They're just like... maybe there's like 3...
horrible luck.
That's awful, isn't it? Like there's like maybe 20 pills and there's 2 or 3... There's 3 in that 20 pill, and all 3 of them took the bad ones.
Oh my God.
I know. Or like...
That's terrifying. Imagine knowing that like that, it's mad, because it's like 10 out of 10 million, there's 50 pills, but it's like, do you risk taking it? Like, it's like your percentage chance is probably very low of actually hitting one.
It's Russian roulette.
Yes, exactly. Well put. Yes. Yeah.
It's awful. And I couldn't believe that.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all from different stores. So all of these bottles, there were Walgreens, there was drugstores, they were all around different stores. And the tainted capsules were discovered to have been manufactured in Texas and Pennsylvania.
So 2 different places?
They were manufactured from Texas and Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
If that makes sense. So
yeah.
They managed
from 2 different stores, from 2 different from 2 different plants.
Yeah. Trying to maybe trace where these laced ones are, they got to 2 other states. So they came from there to Chicago.
Yep. Okay.
And then so basically, because they were all from different lot numbers, that kind of, you realize that they were probably not laced at the manufacturer point.
They can't have been, yeah.
Yeah, so someone has gone to different stores around Chicago and opened the bottles, put the tainted pills in, and then put the bottle back onto the shelf.
Yeah, for the amount of pills. Because I'm just thinking, because you could do it if you did like a coordinated attack.
Yeah.
But for the amount of pills and the randomness of it, yeah, you're probably right.
And the cyanide eats away at the capsules within 48 hours. So this whole thing would have been done 48 hours or less from the time that the pill was consumed. Not even purchased, consumed. So you could purchase it and then leave it on the shelf, and then you'll see it's a messed up pill, and you won't take it.
Yeah.
How unlucky is that?
God. Well, I think I took some Tylenol. No, yeah, that's mad.
So someone was there right before doing this, before this person bought it and consumed it.
Like, they could have put the pill in, and then the next person behind them just like picks it up.
Yeah.
Oh God.
But that's actually the story, and they've not found...
Oh, they've not found anyone?
They've not found anybody about, like...
I suppose this is a mystery too,
yeah,
isn't it?
well, yeah. But I just wanted to kind of go over, ever since this happened, there's been changes to medicine, and specifically bottled medicine. Now Tylenol comes in hard capsules, not capsules, hard pills.
Yeah, okay.
And not in capsule form. I actually have some examples here of bottles. So we don't really get bottles here of medicine, as I said before, but you can get vitamins in bottled form. So these are actually vitamins, but you can see even vitamins have a... Are you filming it?
Yes, hang on.
You can see, so this is hyaluronic acid, but you can see it's got a kind of clear film that you need to break before you can use it. And that's a precaution that is on all pills now, to make sure that you don't have a bottle that's been tampered with. And then once you open that, there should also be another seal here. And if that's been unsealed, then you know it's been tampered with. And in addition to that, some pills also have a child lock where you have to press it down.
Push down, that's what
they've got a break seal here. Once it's been opened, you can tell. And that's all been put in place after this incident. It was never like that before.
That's the reason that came into place?
Yeah, it's changed the way medicine's been packaged. And actually Johnson & Johnson started this. One of their precautions was this, and then all other pharmaceuticals.
Do you know what they probably did?
What?
They probably patented it.
Maybe, yeah.
So they could have made back some of the money that they lost through that patent.
That's a good point. But I mean,
that's me being cynical.
But
that's crazy. So so they don't actually know for a fact that it was someone walking around pharmacies just like chucking pills into bottles.
No, it's just an assumption because of how fast they deteriorate. So it must have been done.
Oh, Okay,
so
yes,
quick
that makes sense.
by
Yeah,
someone.
sorry, I see what you're saying.
Because like by the time it gets from the factory to Chicago, it's going to be more than 48 hours.
Yeah.
And then they make these in lots for...
It might not be, yeah, but I know, I know what
Well,
you
they
mean.
make them in lots and then it might sit in the factory for ages.
Friggin' ages. Yeah, no,
So
you're right. Yeah,
if it's some sort of just like employee doing it in the factory, they're not going to look perfectly fine.
Oh my God.
And I feel like it was meant to cause a lot worse of a chaos if it hadn't been for the Janus family going to that same hospital.
So unfortunate though.
Yeah.
Like hitting 3 family members in the same ball.
That doesn't even have all of them laced.
Yeah, and you just have,
It's ridiculous.
You just don't think about it. Because, I mean, if they take 2, to be fair, take 2.
Yeah, one of them's
you're
laced
increasing
and
your
one of
chance.
them.
Yeah, you are, but like, still not.
You're meant to
still
take
mad.
2 as well.
Imagine doing like just so unexpected. Like you're just trying to cure like sick or pain and Jesus. Yeah, it's almost unlucky and lucky at the same time.
Yeah.
Because it's horrible that 3 people have died. 3 people in the same family died from this.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible anyone died from it, but then those 3 people dying, as you say, going to the same hospital, the same doctor, and this fireman as well.
Yeah.
Who just happens to be listening like to it, like all of that, like ended up probably saving, 50 lives. Yeah. At least.
Yeah.
Because you don't know, like they took back 10 million.
They only tested 10 million, but
you don't know how many.
31
you
million.
don't know. Yeah, you don't know how many have been flushed down the toilet. You don't know how many been put in the bin. You don't know what the scale of it actually was.
They didn't even test all 31 million that they recalled. They only tested 10 million out of the 31. Mm-hmm. So there's probably more.
They actually got 31. They received 31. They tested 10 million.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So there'll be more.
Jesus.
Out of the the more 10 millions they test.
Yeah. I'm amazed. Did they have CCTV? Wait, when was it? 1982?
So this is 1982. So there's CCTV is not that common, and there's not been anything seen. There was like one of the victims was seen on CCTV buying the bottle, but there's nothing else been seen. And the footage is like no good. Basically, CCTV is just no good.
It would have been grainies and everything as well. Yeah. God, that is.
But what's the motive?
Horrible.
Why?
It's that classic Batman line. Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah.
And
nobody's ever come forward. Nobody's ever.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. It's not like it was an attack with a motive, with a purpose, because there was no response being like, I did, like, this was done because of this. We did this to point to. Like, even if it was like we did this to show you how easy it is for your medication to get like tampered with, messed with, there was none of that. So it's just, it literally is some person just wanting to be a dickhead and just a horrible person.
I think it's someone who wanted to bring down Big Pharma, because it's Johnson & Johnson that own.
But do you not think that they would have like said someone would have? I suppose if you say something, you're coming out, aren't you? And you're getting caught.
Because people lost their trust in pharmaceuticals, and they were and.
Well, you would.
But like, I don't think they expected Johnson & Johnson to react the way they did, because they were maybe wanting to bring down these big pharmaceutical companies, kind of like Batman, I suppose. They're trying to bring down people that are high up, that kind of thing. And it kind of didn't work out in their favor, sort of.
That actually makes sense. Yeah.
Because it wasn't like a small company, and Tylenol was massive at this point. Yeah. And there's also a Tylenol for kids that was never touched either. So
you wouldn't trust you literally wouldn't trust Tylenol for potentially years, because you're like, oh, is this still like some of the batch circulating? You'd have to bin it all. You'd lose.
If we went to America right now and we had some Tylenol, I would think
I mean, I would take it now.
But you'd still remember.
Yeah, for sure.
You'd maybe check the bottle.
Yeah, absolutely.
In case someone tried to do a copycat crime,
I never really pay attention to those seals.
Nobody does. They're just there because you're used to them. But from now on, I bet you'll always pay attention, and you'll always make sure it's sealed. Yeah. I always do.
Yeah, I absolutely will.
That's why when you opened that butter the other day, And I said, was that sealed?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking about Tylenol. I even do it with food.
Yeah.
I always like, something's unsealed.
Yeah, you have to watch out.
Yeah. There's a bit of paranoia.
That's a horrible thing to do. Even if you are trying to prove a point to Big Pharma.
Yeah.
You're doing it to someone who's not Big Pharma.
Yeah, innocent people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's horrible. That's mad. That's a crazy story though. I'm surprised I didn't know even in fact, no, I'm not surprised that I didn't know about it. But it's a cool story. It's a really sad story, but it's also really interesting.
Yeah.
In that how they kind of safety, like it's bad, but sometimes bad things have to happen for change, like for good change.
Yeah.
Because of it's probably unfathomable how many lives it saves.
Yeah. And there's not been, things like that haven't happened. And I think that's probably why you've not heard of it, because it's so much more strict now.
Yeah.
With medicine.
Yeah.
Especially with capsules.
Mm-hmm.
So,
You're right. I never thought about that because I've a tendency to break bones and dislocate things. So I'm not unfamiliar with kind of medicine that high threshold painkillers, but they always come in boxes like this, like the kind of tablets with foil over them.
Yeah.
That's a good point. They've never given me a bottle.
No, especially if it's strong stuff. But vitamins do come in bottles.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so it's interesting. And pay attention to whether they come in capsules or not. Usually it won't be unless it's prescription.
No, any of the like the dialcodeine or whatever, codeine or whatever you call it, that was always tablets.
Well, if it's prescribed by the doctor, it can be in capsules because it's under prescription.
I don't think I've ever had capsules from my knowledge. The only capsules I've had is Lemsip.
But that's behind the counter, isn't it?
No, Lemsip's like for cold and flu.
Yeah, but do you have to not get that from the pharmacist?
No, I can get that in Tesco's.
Can you?
Yeah, for sure. But it's not like
it's still like this.
It's like it's like that.
It's not a bottle.
No, it's like that in it, but it's also, if you think about it, it's probably not. It's probably a percentage of paracetamol because it has like caffeine and stuff, other stuff in it as well. But yeah, that's why they have to put it in capsules because it's got different things in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was a very interesting story.
I'm glad you enjoyed.
Yeah, I think that's probably the one that's intrigued me the most. I thought, it surprised me the most.
Yeah. I feel like it wasn't a lot to solve because I feel like it's just someone crazy or a group.
It's a dickhead that's walked into stores and just said, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's just more about why. And I feel like we'll never know. We'll never know why.
You could be right. The big pharma thing does make a bit of sense. But then it goes back to your targeting innocent people. But yeah, it's a big pharma. It's just someone wants to watch the world burn.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that.
No problem. Anytime.
Yes. If you enjoyed listening, watching, please feel free to go back and listen to some of our others. We cover many different mysteries. But yeah, let us know in the comments if you have any thoughts. If you want to correct us on, I don't know where Chicago is.
Yeah, I suppose maybe if I said anything that's incorrect, please let me know.
Yes, let us know in the comments. Follow us on the Instagrams as well. You can let us know on there. Thank you for viewing, watching, listening, subscribing, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.